in a realm where even the heavens trembled. A single pearl, no larger than a bean, shattered defenses that could withstand mountains, and with it, revealed the terrifying truth: when an ancient devil awakens, even immortals are reduced to ash. If you enjoy my way of explaining and storytelling, please consider supporting us through the donation. It really motivates us to keep creating. After being hurled 20 meters through the air, Han Li frantically circulated the magic power within his body, barely managing to steady himself mid-flight. A sharp, searing pain flared from his abdomen. When he lowered his gaze, an icy chill ran through him. Both the Tailstar Essence Shield and the protective azure light barrier enveloping him had been pierced clean through, leaving a fist-sized hole. His robes and the armor woven from gold-devouring beetles had been shredded apart, exposing the final layer of black armor beneath. Even that armor had not been spared. A 3-inch gash marred its surface, and embedded within it was a glittering silver blade that had punched through into his stomach. Azure chi flared across Han Li's face as he roared hastily, summoning a faint golden barrier around his body. Almost immediately, another strange blade lashed toward him. The wind shrieked as it struck the barrier and ricocheted skyward. Han Li shot his hand into the air and seized the weapon. It was 1/2 a foot long, curved like a crescent moon. Yet upon closer inspection, it was no blade at all, but something far more savage, an impossibly sharp wolf's nail. His heart trembled. He glanced again at the wound in his abdomen. No blood flowed. Instead, the torn flesh glistened raw, and pale, faint golden threads interwoven within it. This was the metal-hardened body he had obtained after cultivating the first layer of the bright jade technique. Had it not been for this final defense, the strike would have pierced his dantian. A fatal blow. This so-called Heaven Wolf drill was truly terrifying. Still shaken, Han Li lifted his head and looked toward the puppet before him. Aside from rainbow light shimmering where 2 nails had embedded themselves into its body, the puppet appeared otherwise intact and unremarkable. Relief quietly stirred within him. Forged from Tailstar essence and elemental jade, the puppet's durability defied imagination. Within the black radiance shrouding the altar, the devil ancestor's astonishment was no less profound. Her consecutive attacks, each meant to kill, had failed. The Heaven Wolf drill was the most vicious ability of her Silver Moon wolf form. Each use required the destruction of one of the 4 nails on her claws treasures, painstakingly nurtured over countless years. Their might was such that even a late deity transformation cultivator would treat them with caution. And now, infused with devilish chi under Yuan Cha's control, their power should have been even greater. Yet both attacks had been endured by a mere mid-nascent soul cultivator, an outcome so inconceivable it bordered on the absurd. At that moment, the black light receded from the altar and the colossal wolf dissolved, replaced by a breathtaking woman clad in black robes. Beneath the flowing robes, she wore sinister armor of jet black metal, engraved with the image of a 2-horned ghost. Spikes several feet long jutted from its surface at irregular intervals, each gleaming with a cold and eerie sheen. Her gaze locked onto Han Li. He drew in a sharp breath. "That's the Elder Devil's true fiend armor," Silvermoon said gravely. "It can only be formed when an immense quantity of perfect devil chi condenses within a fully devilified body. Not only is it incomparably durable, it also grants her a secondary source of devilish chi, drastically amplifying her strength. During the ancient war, both the demon and human races suffered terribly because of this armor. Fortunately, only a small fraction of elder devils could wield it. Otherwise, there would have been no war, only annihilation. You remember that?" Han Li asked, startled. Even as he spoke, he directed the puppet to extract the silver nail embedded in its body. Rainbow light surged across its form as the wound gradually sealed. At the same time, the gold-devouring beetles around Han Li's abdomen stirred and swarmed, closing the gap in his armor. He also withdrew the small silver shield, allowing it to shrink back into its original palm-sized form. Silvermoon gave a faint wry smile. "I'm not certain how much I remember, but the fragments are returning. Memories once blurred are becoming clear. and with them many things I had forgotten. Han Li's expression flickered, but he said nothing further. The puppet fully restored, blurred, and reappeared silently at his side. Xianxia slowly withdrew her gaze from him and turned toward the clash between radiant and black light. A strange expression crossed her face. She formed a hand seal and began to chant in a voice as sweet as silk, flicking her fingers lightly. 10 seemingly ordinary strands of black thread shot forth, striking the enormous stone tablet that housed the dragon call crest. Black light began to coil around it as a deep, resonant hum reverberated through the air. The stone pillars encircling the altar began to tremble at first subtly, then with mounting violence. Her expression hardened. She let her hair fall loose over her face, casting her features into shadow and lending her an eerie, almost spectral appearance. The altar beneath her feet quaked violently. Black light flickered across its surface as it began to crumble, and countless streams of pitch-black qi surged outward, flooding into the surrounding pillars. When she saw this, her composure shattered. A manic, triumphant laughter burst from her lips. She pointed toward the heavens and shrieked, "Shatter!" Black qi gathered above the altar, churning and roiling as it condensed into a colossal devil, towering as high as a building. It bore the body of a breathtaking woman, eyes closed, expression serene. The armor upon it was identical to Yuan Cha's, and upon its delicate face rested a pair of short, exquisitely shaped horns. "Devil ancestor Yuan Cha," Corpse Xiong cried out in horror. The others were equally shaken. In the next instant, the giant devil's eyes slowly opened, revealing twin purple depths, vast and endless, like the abyss itself. At that very moment, the combined strike of 3 spirit treasure replicas shattered the wall of black light, reducing it to countless scattered rays. Blazing radiance surged forward, cascading toward the altar like a descending curtain of divine judgment. The giant devil turned its head lazily toward the incoming brilliance and raised a single hand, delivering a casual slap. The heavens erupted. A monstrous black claw materialized in the air, vast as a storm cloud obscuring the moon. In a brief flash, 5 streaks of black tore through the curtain of light, utterly suppressing it. When the radiance faded, a large jade block and a small crimson drum were revealed within the claw's grasp. All light from the attack had vanished. Those who witnessed it stood frozen in disbelief. The giant devil lowered its head slightly, examining the 2 treasures in its hand as purple light flickered in its eyes. Then, with faint confusion, an icy voice drifted from its lips. This is the mortal realm." At that instant, atop Hua Tianqi's back, a silver wolf head had just formed Long Meng's possessed form, preparing to break free. But the moment she saw the towering devil in the distance, the silver wolf recoiled, burrowing back into Hua Tianqi's body. Long Meng regained control, her face pale, her body trembling as she screamed, "Spatial soul crossing. That is Yuan Cha's true soul." Shock spread like wildfire across the faces of the gathered cultivators. Master Sable and Taoist 7 Wonders were ashen drained of all color. The devil's claws ignited silently with purple flame. In the blink of an eye, the jade block and crimson drum evaporated into nothingness. 2 divine spirit treasure replicas reduced to dust with effortless contempt. The giant devil withdrew its arm and slowly turned to face the black-armored woman below. The woman met its gaze without expression. The devil spoke, its voice detached and cold. "So you yet live. It seems my past efforts were not in vain. You summoned me here to deal with insects. Do you believe my intervention is worth so little? You have already called upon me twice before. After this, I will erase you. The perfect devil qi expended to create you here could be better spent refining another, more reliable branch of our holy race." The black-armored woman raised a brow, her tone icy. "We are one and the same. I would not have done this without dire necessity. Without the true devil qi leaking from the altar and my desperate circumstances, I could never have summoned you." The giant devil glanced at the steady torrent of black qi rising from the altar and nodded slowly. "So that is the case. Summoning me consumed considerable energy. It was not your own devilish chi that brought me forth. Then I must act swiftly. I do not know how long this manifestation can endure." Her gaze shifted toward the gathered demons and cultivators. Beneath that frigid stare, several of them instinctively retreated, their movements slow and fearful. A cruel smile curved the devil's lips. She raised her hand and flicked a single finger. A shrill cry split the air as something blurred and vanished from sight. The lion hawk, locked in combat with the enormous devil bird, let out a desperate, agonized scream. Its body swelled grotesquely for a heartbeat, and then imploded. The silver-winged night fiend who had been locked in battle with the other devil incarnation shuddered violently. Terror seized his heart. Without the slightest hesitation, he beat his wings and vanished into thin air. Ancestor Yuancha's colossal form let out a cold snort. Casually, almost lazily, she swiped her hand toward the place where the night fiend had disappeared. The air itself detonated. A devilish claw 3 meters wide materialized in a flash of black light and slashed downward with effortless dominance. Azure radiance burst forth within its grasp, revealing the silver-winged night fiend trapped inside. His wind movement technique, once thought elusive, had been seen through and shattered as though it were child's play. Thick coils of black chi bound him completely, locking his body in place. Unable to move even a fraction, the night fiend let out a shrill, desperate scream. In a final frenzy, countless black threads erupted from his body, lashing outward in violent defiance. Grey light flickered wildly. Explosions boomed in rapid succession. But the 5 immense fingers tightened. The faintly pulsing black radiance crushed the grey light, utterly smothering it without mercy. Black flames ignited, engulfing the night fiend whole. In mere breaths, his body charred and collapsed into ash. His primal soul did not even have the chance to escape. The devil claw faded away as if nothing had occurred. 2 demons, each comparable to late nascent soul cultivators, had been exterminated in the blink of an eye. And this was only the power of a manifested soul. A cold dread spread through the gathered cultivators. Panic erupted. Some attempted to conceal themselves, others fled at full speed, desperate to avoid becoming the next victim. Hanli vanished in a crackle of lightning, reappearing 60 meters away. The instant he steadied himself, a panicked voice rang in his ears. "Sheling, quickly fuse back together with me. That is the only way we can survive." Long Meng's voice trembled uncontrollably. The devil's appearance had shattered her composure entirely. Han Li's heart tightened. His expression hardened. As Long Meng spoke, the devil ancestor's gaze shifted toward the keen spirit peacock in the distance. A soft exclamation escaped her lips. A keen spirit peacock. I did not expect such a rare creature to still exist in the mortal realm. Very good. I happen to have need of your rainbow light. She extended a slender finger toward the bird. Within the peacock, Grand Immortal Shu's nascent soul turned deathly pale. Without hesitation, he shot away in a streak of light. Teeth clenched as he forcefully poured his essence into the peacock's body. A muffled boom resounded. Blinding rainbow light erupted outward, forming a dense, radiant barrier around him, brilliant as a miniature sun. The devil ancestor merely sneered. She flicked her finger. The explosion that followed shook the heavens. A deep depression formed in the radiant barrier, and the peacock was hurled violently through the air. Before it could regain balance, a massive devil claw materialized and seized it in a vicious grip. "Brother Shu!" Lin Yinping cried out in horror. Devilish flames roared to life around the claw. The rainbow barrier struggled, flickering frantically, barely holding together. A trace of irritation crossed the devil ancestor's face. The claw tightened. The barrier wailed like tortured metal, warping grotesquely before shattering into shards of light. No. Grand Immortal Shu's scream tore through the air as the keen spirit peacock was roasted alive within the crushing grasp. In that split instant, Shu's nascent soul fled, teleporting over 60 meters away in a desperate bid for survival. But the devil ancestor had already anticipated it. Her finger had flicked toward that very location ahead of time. The moment the nascent soul reappeared, it exploded, erased before even a final cry could escape. Thus ended the illustrious Grand Immortal of the endless sky plains. Master Sable and Taoist Seven Wonders stood ashen-faced terror etched into every line of their features. This devil possessed power beyond reason. They could not withstand even a single strike. At this rate, annihilation was certain. Han Li's complexion had drained of all color, yet his expression remained unnervingly composed. A cold, razor-sharp light flickered deep within his eyes. Long Meng's urgent voice rang again in his ears. "What are you hesitating for? If you do not release Xueling now, it will be too late. Only Ling Long, our original self, has the power to stop her. We will not truly disappear. Afterward, we can separate again into our individual forms." Han Li's face darkened, but he did not respond. Then Silver Moon's voice sounded within his spiritual sense, gentle yet resolute. "Do not worry. I accept this. I will go." Alarm surged through him. "Silver Moon, what are you saying?" Han Li snapped sternly. "How can you be certain you will return to your original state after merging? Your soul is far weaker. She will undoubtedly become the dominant consciousness." "Master, that no longer matters," Silver Moon replied softly. "If Long Meng and I do not fuse, we will all perish. In that case, I would rather take the risk." His sleeve stirred. A white fox shot out, streaking through the air toward Long Meng. Long Meng flew forward eagerly to meet her. Han Li remained where he stood, his expression grim. His lips did not move. He could sense it, her resolve was unshakable. Meanwhile, after Shu's nascent soul had been annihilated, the keen spirit peacock's demon core emerged from the devil claw wrapped in black light. The rest of the peacock's body disintegrated into ash within the abyssal flames, leaving behind only a cluster of radiant rainbow light. It shimmered with crystalline clarity, dazzling and translucent. The claw closed around it and vanished. In the next instant, it reappeared above the devil ancestor, still clutching the radiant light. A faint glimmer of satisfaction appeared in her eyes. She exhaled a dense gust of black wind that swept around the rainbow light. The wind contracted rapidly, compressing the brilliance into a pearl no larger than a thumb. She glanced at it once before tossing it casually toward her incarnation behind her. "This pearl is of some use to me," she said indifferently. "Send it back to the devil realm at the next opportunity. Do not disappoint me." The black-armored woman, though faintly surprised, caught the pearl without protest. As she cupped it in both hands, it warped and vanished from sight. With that done, the devil ancestor's gaze fell upon Han Li. Ruthlessness etched itself across her delicate features. Han Li's expression sank. In a flash, the puppet blurred before him, seizing the Tailstar Essence shield and releasing a silver barrier that enveloped them both. Its other hand formed a spell seal as rainbow light surged from its body. Han Li did not remain idle. He gripped the Triflame fan tightly in one hand and pointed with the other toward the massive sword revolving above him. The sword hummed deeply and dissolved into hundreds of dazzling golden sword lights. They swirled around the silver barrier, converging into the shape of a colossal lotus. It bloomed in the air, magnificent, radiant. Thunder rumbled from within the lotus as arcs of golden lightning erupted outward. With silent incantations, Han Li activated the Vajra barrier and circulated the bright jade arts. A layer of golden light coated his skin, tinting his flesh with a faint metallic sheen. Within his body, the two treasures he relied upon most trembled, restlessly resonating with his will. All of his defenses were erected in the blink of an eye. And yet, a deep unease gnawed at him. He knew. Before ancestor Yuan Cha, even such formidable defenses might be reduced to nothing. Divine Devilbane lightning. The devil ancestor's eyes flickered with surprise when she saw the golden lightning crackling around him. For a fleeting moment, astonishment crossed her face, but her fingers flicked regardless. Two soft thuds echoed through the air. They were not loud. The first thud tore a gaping hole through the golden lotus, formed by the bamboo cloudswarm swords. The second crushed inward upon the silver barrier, which caved and shattered like fragile glass. The golden Vajra barrier flickered wildly before exploding with a crisp, brittle ring. In that fleeting instant of resistance, blue light flashed within Han Li's eyes. He saw clearly what was streaking toward him. As he swung the tri-flame fan to intercept it, his face filled with absolute disbelief. What had shattered Han Li's light barrier was nothing more than a pearl the size of a bean, milky white and translucent. Yet within that tiny sphere was condensed a fragment of devil ancestor Yuan-Cha's spiritual sense. To manifest spiritual sense into physical form alone required cultivation beyond mortal comprehension. It was little wonder she had slaughtered late nascent soul beings as though brushing away dust. Shock rippled through Han Li's heart. Without hesitation, he willed the tri-flame fan into motion. Brilliant light erupted from it, its three-colored radiance condensing into a blazing shield before him. Gold, silver, and crimson talismanic characters drifted languidly across its surface, emanating an ancient and mysterious aura. At the same time, he opened his mouth and spat out a small cauldron wrapped in azure light. But events unfolded faster than thought. His golden barrier shattered completely. The milky white pearl pierced through the tri-colored flame shield as though it were mere mist. A violent explosion followed, and the flaming shield was blasted apart without the slightest resistance. The pearl shot forward, aiming directly for the cauldron. In response, the Heavenvoid Cauldron erupted. Dense azure threads burst outward in a torrent, weaving themselves into a tightly knit net before the pearl. The net flared violently under the impact light, flashing in wild pulses, yet somehow impossibly it held. Yuan-Cha's purple eyes widened slightly as she stared at the otherwise unremarkable cauldron. The surrounding cultivators were equally stunned. They had already resigned themselves to witnessing Han Li's instantaneous death, just like the others before him. Master Sable had even produced a world-breaker talisman ready to tear open the space and flee. Yet fear of drawing the devil's attention made him hesitate. In that fleeting opportunity, Silvermoon streaked toward Long Meng. A sphere of white light emerged from the fox's body and plunged into Hua Tianqi's possessed form. The body trembled violently but remained suspended in the air. "Interesting," Yuan-Cha said coldly. "You actually managed to block that. Let me have a closer look at that treasure." She waved her hand toward Han Li. A thunderous crack split the air as a colossal black hand materialized above him, descending in oppressive silence. Han Li's heart pounded wildly. Thunder roared from his back as he attempted to unleash lightning movement. But the instant silver lightning flickered, several clouds of black chi condensed around him, sealing the surrounding space and suppressing his escape. A chill seized him. There would be no retreat. With no other option, Han Li poured his spiritual sense into the Heavenvoid Cauldron. Another dense storm of azure thread surged outward. Simultaneously, his puppet raised its arm. Amid a burst of thunder, a streak of green lightning intertwined with golden arcs shot toward the descending black hand. The azure threads were extraordinarily resilient. But Han Li had only cultivated the first layer of the cauldron's artifact imprint technique. Its true might remained sealed. The devil hand paused only for an instant before the net tore apart like rotten silk. The green lightning struck next, punching a meter-wide hole through the black hand. Yet in a flicker of darkness, it reknit itself seamlessly. The giant hand descended without obstruction. It seized Han Li. The fingers clenched. An explosion of azure light erupted as his body was crushed entirely within the tightening fist. Yuan-Cha relaxed her grip, a faint expression of satisfaction crossing her face. With her free hand, she beckoned toward the Heavenvoid Cauldron. But before she could act, thunder detonated. Silver lightning ripped across the sky. In several rapid flashes, Han Li reappeared over 100 meters away. His face was deathly pale. His magic power was nearly exhausted. The mangled corpse, still within the devil's grasp, flickered with specks of azure light, condensing into a small talisman. It curled upon itself, vanishing only to reappear above Han Li's head. It was the spirit form talisman of the Heavenly Talisman sect's founder. Though Han Li had never fully refined it, with the aid of the spirit subjugation talisman and its wood attribute resonance, he had substituted it for his own body at the last instant, cheating death itself. The cultivators were left utterly speechless. Yancha merely sneered. She raised her hand again toward Han Li and curled her fingers. Han Li's heart sank into an abyss. His final lifeline had been spent. There was no certainty he could survive another strike. Gritting his teeth, he poured the remnants of his magic power into the Heavenvoid Cauldron. It swelled massively, expanding to shield his entire front. Golden lightning and deep purple flames erupted around him, coiling desperately over his body. The puppet blurred forward, positioning itself before him. Joining its hands, it radiated brilliant rainbow light, transforming itself into a defensive treasure. Yancha regarded his frantic preparations with naked disdain. She flicked her fingers casually. But at that very instant, several streaks of silver light materialized before her in a blur. Explosions of white radiance erupted forcibly, disrupting the forming attack. For the first time, Yancha appeared momentarily dazed. Between her and Han Li, a slender figure emerged. Clad in white robes with two pointed ears and waist-length silver hair cascading like moonlight, the silhouette stood facing the devil, her expression cold as winter frost. "You are," Yancha's voice held unmistakable surprise. When Han Li saw the woman's back, he cried out involuntarily, "Silver Moon." The silver-haired woman slowly turned. Her face was exquisite and utterly expressionless. Her dark eyes fell upon Han Li, and something within that gaze felt unfamiliar, distant. She flicked her palm lightly toward him. Instinct alone saved him. Han Li leaned sideways without conscious thought. A streak of blinding silver light brushed past his shoulder. The divine Devilbane, lightning and purple apex flames shielding him, was sliced through effortlessly, offering not even the faintest resistance. An icy chill swept across his skin. His expression changed drastically. "I am Ling Long, Grand Princess of the Silver Moon clan," she said coldly. "I am aware of what you did to my soul fragment. The next time you dare to call me Silver Moon, I will kill you." Though death had momentarily retreated, Han Li's face twisted into a bitter expression. Without sparing him another glance, Ling Long turned her full attention to Yancha. Instead of attacking, Yancha narrowed her eyes. "The Silver Moon clan. Do you have ties to that old wolf Ao Xiao? Demon monarch Ao Xiao is my esteemed grandfather." "Oh, his granddaughter." Yancha frowned faintly. "You know him." Ling Long's tone shifted subtly. "No, but we crossed blades several times during a campaign in the spirit realm. I hold his howling moon arts in high regard." Ling Long raised a brow but remained silent. After a pause, Yancha spoke again. "Since you are his descendant, I will spare you. It is beneath me to bully a junior. In exchange, swear upon your grandfather's name that you will not interfere with my soul fragment's actions in this realm." Ling Long let out a soft scoff. "Sacred ancestor Yancha, do you not find yourself overly arrogant? This meager amount of perfect devil chi sustains no more than a tenth of your spiritual sense. Why would I flee?" Yancha's expression darkened violently. "A trifling late deity transformation whelp without even a body dares look down upon me. You court death. Even a tenth of my spiritual sense is more than sufficient to annihilate you. I will erase you, body and soul." She grasped at the air. Crackling thunder burst from her fingers as if space itself were being torn apart. Countless crystalline streaks erupted from her palms, sweeping forward in a dazzling tide of destructive force. Ling Long responded with calm indifference. She spat out a palm-sized plate. It was pitch black, speckled with faint starlight. As the crystalline streaks neared her, they curved abruptly around the plate, emitting deafening vibrations. An invisible gravitational force erupted from its surface, drawing the streaks inward like stars collapsing into a singularity. In the blink of an eye, the sky filled with radiant brilliance. "The star-defying plate!" Yancha cried out, her voice trembling with disbelief. In the distance, Corpse Xiong's eyes flared with shock as he stared at the plate in Ling Long's hand. The cultivators exchanged stunned glances before fixing their gazes upon the artifact with naked greed. "What is your connection to the four great demon kings?" Yancha demanded sharply. Only those ancient monsters and the 3 human sovereigns are qualified to possess a star-defying plate. If you loved this story, please consider supporting us through the donation link below. Your support allows us to keep bringing you the best and most immersive video. We truly appreciate you being here with us.